Here we
Here we
are.
are
We are live. Welcome back,
from New
everybody.
York.
Well, various places around the globe. We
Yes.
uh, we are here again with another Facebook Live for Italy with Bella. So happy to be back because we have some great news to share. But before we get there, Anthony, what's up with you?
Hey, Brian, how you doing, buddy? How's Sicily treating you? Um, well, it was
I
my
love the
birthday
spin.
yesterday. It was my birthday
Happy
yesterday, so
birthday.
Mr. Campopiano is a little bit tired from the festivities last night.
Oh
So it's
my.
all good. So made a
Good.
nice Italian meal from scratch with a bunch of friends. So having a couple of coffees to get the ball rolling with you, and excited to see you this morning because I know you're a little under the weather this week too. So excited
Oh,
to talk about
pre-COVID,
Italy and
this and
all
that.
its
Yeah.
trappings.
Yes, I can't wait to jump into to all of that. It's it's not it's been going in a great trajectory for getting more traffic, getting more
Hmm.
visitors into Italy, but not never before have we seen both the restrictions loosening, the numbers decreasing across the board. Although in some places, we've got little hot spots still, but it's nothing like it was. There's no emergencies, and we've got great news for the summer. So we've got kind of on all fronts today some fun things to share. And
Hmm.
then I understand that we have a few questions from some of our listeners, our viewers that want to pose certain questions, get certain answers, and we're going to hopefully provide specific answers to their questions, right?
Yes, yes, Brian. Yes, thank you very much for that.
I'm just spitballing here. I've been sick and under the weather, and you had a birthday last night. Okay, so yeah, it is
We're
what it is,
good. We're
guys.
good. We're good.
It really doesn't get any better. What are we apologizing for? It doesn't get any better than this anyway.
Yeah, it
But
only gets better. That's right.
it can only get can.
But the first question I think we need to hit on, and I believe we did discuss this, being in Italy, knowing how things work, and seeing it day to day. I think the biggest concern is the health restrictions and the travel
Mm,
restrictions.
right.
And as you know, people, customers of ours, clients of ours, have been traveling there every month for the last 2 years when they can. But I think as we see it, it is getting easier and easier.
Yep.
And I don't know if you want to give those dates, when the expectations at the end of the month,
Yep.
and then May.
Yeah,
That'd
I'll
be
I'll get
great.
into some
But yeah,
specifics,
okay.
absolutely. And in fact, we just had one of our team members come over to Italy this week and had an easy time getting
Mm.
in to the country, moving around. It hasn't been this easy since pre-COVID. It's not like it was pre-COVID, not yet, but it's never been this easy. So, and I'm hopeful as well. Your experience coming up in April, May, when you guys get over here, is going to be hopefully shockingly
Mm.
easy. That's
Yes.
that's my that's my hope. So, without further ado, just some of the big news across the board. So, Italy has renewed its state of emergency as of the first of the year, but that is due to completely expire at the end of this month, which is
Hmm.
fantastic. And
Awesome.
as of right now, they're hinting that they're not going to renew the state of emergency. And so, with that said, and I'm going to be reading from a couple different news sources. I want to make sure that we get everything right for specifically because I'm over here, and how we're dealing with residents is a little bit different than how we're dealing with folks coming into the country from the outside. But across the board, what we're seeing is that in Italy itself, we've been going back to a completely white zones. I think with the exception of Sardinia in this moment, everything top to bottom is white. Okay, and so what is white, and what does that mean? It's kind of like a traffic light system.
Hmm.
And so white is the lowest level of risk and concern, the lowest level of threat or emergency. You graduate to yellow, and then we have these other intermediary colors. But as of right now, everything's in the white. Have you been over here while it was white?
Yes, yes, I have been here. It was white. Actually, when we were there in October, September, October, I don't remember if they had the color system until it locked down again. I'm trying to recall, but it was very wide open. I mean, the only thing that was required is mask inside the restaurants, and of
Yeah.
course, show your vaccine card or a negative
Okay.
test. So,
Okay.
and we expect that to
So
go away, right? So,
we do expect that to go away at a certain point. As of right now, the fun thing is that they're not requiring when travelers are coming into the country, the entry regulations are only differing based on a traveler's vaccination status. And so that gives us a good sign of what they're looking for. I mean, it's almost as if you could actually get into the country without the swab. You're just having to show proof of vaccination, and so they just want to know that you're safe, and that you're for your own personal health, and that you're coming into an environment where 90% of adults over here are already vaccinated. And so we've done just about everything possible across the board to make Italy a safe environment. And it's finally paying off, because this was one of the worst hit places in Europe. And so those testing restrictions have been eased, which is great. It means that you can actually get into the country unvaccinated. But the problem becomes when you're going to go shopping, when you're going to go to the restaurant, when you're going to go to museums and things like that, they're going to want some proof. And so maybe you're going to end up having to do the swab or something like that. I think you guys were here during a similar season. It wasn't quite as relaxed, but they had the same kind of requirements at that point, if I remember correctly.
Exactly. So, the only thing different is we had to do a swab even though we were vaccinated.
Yeah.
Now, what we're going to see, I believe April 1st, will be entering the country. If you show a vaccination card at the airport before you fly out of the United States, you won't have to have a swab. The only people who will have to have a swab before they fly internationally will be people without vaccine. They just show a negative result within 24 hours if it's antigen, and 72 if it is a PCR.
Yeah, exactly. Negative, what is that? The negative PCR for 72 hours, and the rapid antigen is 48 still. Yeah.
Oh, is it 48? Okay, those
It's
24.
still,
Okay.
yeah, they've put it at 48. And other than that, I mean, those are the only two requirements. So we don't have any more zones as of the end of this month, which is fantastic. That means that if you're traveling a lot while you're here, you're not going to run into different protocols or restrictions based on region. And so that makes it a lot simpler. You just know what to expect. As soon as you arrive, it's going to be like that for the duration of your trip. I say that kind of with a smirk, knowing that, I mean, it totally depends on who's enforcing what where, because I've been, here in Sicily, been to a restaurant here or there the last month or two, and you can never tell, if you're going to get a car, asked to show your vaccine papers or something like that. And it a lot of times it doesn't even make sense. I was with a friend who came down from Zurich. We sat outside where everyone's smoking, and they asked for the pass. Then we went to a different restaurant, went inside, and they did not ask. So it's like there's no
Italy.
rhyme or reason to it. It's the enforcing is all over the map, but the regulation is clear, and the regulation is the easiest that it's ever been. So that's exciting news, right?
Yes. And the other thing I was going to say is one of the other problems I see, not a problem, but some things you need to know, and that's where we help people, right? We guide them, is coming back from Italy. You have to have a swab getting back into the United States, no matter if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated or recovered. They just made an announcement this week that the United States is actually going to look at, and we should hear something beginning of April about no mask on planes, which is huge, and no negative swab coming back into the United States, which is is a
Wow.
hassle. If you're traveling,
Yep.
you had a great vacation, and then you got to go find a pharmacy or go to the airport and get a
In a foreign
swab
country,
in a
you
foreign
have to find
country.
a
Yeah,
pharmacy,
exactly.
go through all that process of if they need an appointment or can they do it. You have to stand in line. It's a pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something we help with, as you know. We set up the pharmacy appointment for you and all that,
Right.
or at least guide you. That looks like it possibly could go away too. So that's big,
Mm.
right? There's nothing more frustrating than to try to plan something on your last day of vacation, trying to get a swab somewhere. So we see
Right.
that going away, and possibly no mask on flights too. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone on this call listening is, saying, "Oh gosh, I'm going in April. I'm planning. I'm not." It's good for the future. What we
Yep.
see is going back to normal, probably
Yep.
May 1st on, if you're
Hmm.
going to go to Italy. And even
Yep.
May 1st, what was some other news you're hearing about May 1st, Brian?
Yeah. So as we're coming out of the state of emergency, the restrictions are lessening. If we just jump ahead into June, there's the possibility that there could be zero restrictions, and that the green pass, the dread green pass over here, which is our
Mhm.
vaccine document, will no longer be needed to get in and out of places. Maybe they'll keep it around for schools and hospitals, things like that. But generally, you won't need to be showing, yeah, the green pass anywhere. So
Explain the green pass again for most people. How does it correlate with us in the
I mean,
States, let's say?
it's our equivalent of your CDC card.
Okay.
It's just digital, and there have been more restrictions on it in a tier system given based on when the last dose was made. Was it the first, the second, the booster, etc. So yeah, the green pass, you'll see that written everywhere. But just know that if you've got a CDC card and the last dose was within 9 months, you're going to be okay getting in, and that's even if they check the
Yes.
dates, which they usually just look at it and waive. In fact, you were mentioning around the May dates. They're actually going to I'm thinking in time. They're going to keep some of our restrictions for residents, but they're going to loosen it up for travelers coming in and make things a lot easier, where we'll still have some things hanging on us until June sometime. But for travelers coming in, if you're a foreigner, you're not going to have any problem at all. They realize the dent in the economy that needs to
Yes.
be repaired ASAP. So that's where we are right now. Good news. We are continuing to make great progress out of the slump that we've been in, the travel slump over here in Italy with the restrictions. And things are opening up and people are welcoming. I mean, we're seeing as we're booking,
Hmm.
restaurants are filling up well in advance.
Yes.
People are planning their trips. And that makes sense because Italy's back open. It's fantastic. Any other
Yeah.
comments on that?
No, I mean, it's almost back to normal. I mean, the one thing I would love to see is, and we're going to be there, I think April 28th, and then May. That decree in May is supposed to be no mask, except for like maybe museums, large gatherings. You have to wear a mask, or hospitals, of course, right? But that being said, I would love, to land 2 days later. May comes and no mask, and it's back to the old way we've all loved and
That would be a
known, right?
dream. It's the
Um,
Italy we dream of,
Yes,
like it was.
but yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it, Giussi, who does all our reservations for restaurants, as you know, for our clients. We book all their most of dinner reservations, and we're looking 4 or 5 weeks out, and usually we would
Mhm.
never do that. Even in Italy,
Yeah. We're
we would
already
call
booking
the
into
night
May right
before.
now.
We can't even get
Mhm,
in restaurants, and these are the major
mhm.
cities, right? And we're getting pushback, right? So that tells me that people are traveling and people
Yep,
are getting out. So what this call is more for the people that are still on the fence, right? If you're on the
yep.
fence, jump. I mean, we're gonna,
The
we're
water's good.
fine. I mean, yeah, the water is good. Yeah, the water is perfect right now, and it's only going to get better. My expectations. Anyone's listening to this call, they're probably not going in April, right? They're looking at this end of the summer. They're looking at the fall, even next year. Now is the time to stop booking. I think. You're going to see a lot of tourism come back,
Yeah.
and you're going to see a lot of crowds. So, and the costs go up,
Well,
right? So,
I mean, I don't wanna do a sales pitch here,
no.
but I just have to say that, I mean, because you mentioned the making the reservations, and if that's a concern at all for people, that, okay, the tide is rising again over here, and there's more tourism, there's more crowds, and especially at certain parts, different state seasons of the year, we've got higher tourism flow over here. And if that's an issue, if that's a concern, what's great about what we do is we take care of those reservations all in advance. And
Hmm.
we're on that curve where we know where we have to get in to secure the place. And that's, that takes away so much of the stress and trepidation. And I only mention that because one of the questions, and we're going to segue here into our questions that we got from some listeners, but one of the questions was, how do you make someone at ease with, and I'll let you explain with what, but it triggered my mind to think, people could have a little bit of anxiety about, well, if there's so many crowds, how am I going to get into the kind of top restaurant that I want? And I don't mean top in how much you pay,
Hmm.
or that it's Michelin or whatever, but top as in this is bona fide local traditional fare, and it's well done with excellence, and curated by a chef, that kind of thing. If that's what you're after, that's what makes us appealing at Italy with Bella. But there's other things that people are concerned about, Anthony. So I'd love for you to get into some of our questions now. Let's kick off that segment and start to reply.
Yeah, I mean, the ease thing, we get this a lot, actually. I think you'll even have people that are well traveled, right? And their concern is, uh, I can book Mexico, I can book the Grand Canyon, I can go to Canada, but I'm a little concerned whether it's the health restrictions, whether it's the language, the culture. I don't want to stick out as a sore thumb, or it could be just like, all right, I'm not familiar with trains, or I'm not familiar with booking things, or where do I go? The one thing we do, we have multiple people in Italy that work for us, you being one of them. We have people here, and we're always in contact with our customers. We don't build you a package and say, hey, have a good time. We're in
Hope
contact.
it works out. Have fun storming
Exactly.
the castle.
No, but we're always in contact. Hey, how's your day going? What do you need? We have people. We had a customer a few weeks back, like, hey, I need a button fell off my jacket, and all right, there's a tailor right there on the road. Go see them, and we've had issues, so we're always there and
To
never out of
ease
pocket of mind,
concerns and
right?
stress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the other
Mhm.
thing is there's when you go with us, everything's connected, right? You have our app. We go over that trip with you. All right, how am I getting from there to there? Oh, there it is. Raphael's picking us up at 11:30. Here's his
Mhm.
phone number. You can text them to say you're close. Raphael knows us well. I can pick up the phone, call Raphael. So the relationships are a little different than dealing with these larger companies, right? So there's always that connectivity and ease of feeling comfortable going traveling with
Mhm.
us because of that. Anything you want to add,
Yeah.
Brian?
No, no. Let's jump into our questions here. Do you have those up in front of you, or do you want me to hit the first one?
You hit the first one.
Yeah. So the first one is, can you give an example of what it could cost to plan a trip to Italy with Bella? And I know that's difficult to answer if I understand from my side of things, because you've got so many variables. What's the length of the stay? Are you taking care of your own tickets, or is that included in the price? And what kind of experience do you want while you're here? And I mean, there's so many different variables, but if we could give some kind of a range for a 1 week or a 2 week stay over here to have a phenomenal experience, could you ballpark that, or is that difficult to do and we actually need to do the consult first?
I would say you have to do the consult first, and it's more than that, right? It's the time of year. Give you an example. We booked our tickets for $800, and now those same tickets are 1,400, right? So there's a variable about the tickets.
Mhm.
Are you staying in Rome for 7 days in Florence, or are you going into Umbria? Are you going into Sicily? So there's where you're staying, or do you like Airbnbs? Do you want 5-star hotels? Do you want car
Yeah,
service? Do you want to drive a car? So there's a lot of variables. And
sure.
we had a customer give me an example. Thursday, we met with them. It was four of them. They needed two rooms because there's two kids and a couple. They were going for 10 days, and with flights, we were talking about 13,000. That's just
Okay.
an example. And they were doing two major cities, and doing a little bit in the country, and they were also doing a couple of tours, 3 or 4 tours.
Mm,
Tours can add
mm,
up too. So there's a lot of variables, but
sure.
four people for 10 days, 11 if you count the flights. It was about 13 grand, and that's
Okay.
exactly within the budget. Does that
That's
help?
helpful, and obviously that's scalable. We have people that
Yes.
come in a lot higher than that,
Mhm.
and a little bit lower, but at least that gives us a starting point to go, okay, I can kind of wrap my head around, and you have to factor in all those variables because that's going to render the outcome a little bit different. So
And I want to
then,
preface that too.
oh, go ahead.
One thing is we will work. We are usually at or below people's budgets, right? And we give the proposal. It might be over a budget they stated. We'll tell them why. They understand it, and then they'll go with it. Or we'll look. All right, let's take you out of that 4-star hotel. Let's find a beautiful Airbnb
Mm.
or a beautiful 3-star that the only thing different is they have a full service restaurant or something like that, right? So we can work within that budget. It's not set as you would with other travel agencies that have a
Yeah,
set package. We don't do
because
that.
we don't
Okay.
do packages. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Go ahead.
Okay. Another question that came in, we've already spoken to, but let's just clarify. Can you address the current health restrictions, travel restrictions when traveling to and from Italy? To sum up the first 10 minutes, it's never been easier. You get in just showing proof of vaccination, and you can go to anywhere you want to eat, sleep, do whatever, museums with that same vaccination card. You're not running around trying to get, the swab either before coming in or while you're here. Other than that, we are seeing masks being used inside, but they're no longer mandated outside. If you're on public transport, you're going to have to put on the mask, and it is the FFP2, the safer new mask that's been out for a few months now. Other than that, Anthony, can you think of anything else that travelers might want to know?
No, I think that's it. I mean, and even right now, you still have to do the like you said, the test on the way back. Just
Hmm.
because of the United States requirement. That's it. And like I said, hopefully by May, a lot of this will go away. But yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy. I mean, and it's wide open. And as Brian said, it's not as restricted either. Where there's it can be gray in one area, and here it is, and then they don't ask for it in another, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, but other than that, it's going to be smooth. I'm looking forward to the upcoming weeks and to get on another call and say, hey, it's back to 2019.
Wow.
So, that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, one more question. Please discuss about how you make someone at ease if their biggest concern is where to go and what to do when they get to Italy. So I will throw this in at the beginning. We have a new podcast called Bella Italy. And you can find that on our website, italywithbella.com. You can go to Spotify, find us on Twitter, Bella Italy, and you can follow our podcast where we are delving into a couple of cities and regions. So we're still in the first season. We're hitting broad strokes. In season 2, we'll come back around. We'll head to the south because we've been on a northern track. Season 3, we're going to drill down and do some really fun introspective looks at the real Italy, kind of under the surface type stuff. I think it's exciting. You'll want to have taken the ride with us so that you can enjoy where we're going and be surprised when you get there in season 3. Should be really fun. So that's one way somebody can ease their concerns about where to go and what to do, because we give tons of great ideas, everything from food and wine to events, the times of season to go. All of that is covered. Some of the things to do, but also to stay away from in your favorite towns and regions in Italy. That said, Anthony, how can people put someone else at ease who has concerns about where to go and what to do?
I think the biggest thing for us, and we only know this from experience, is when you do a call with the team, you sit down and you ask all the questions, and we put you at ease, right? All right.
Mm.
A lot of times we'll be on a phone or a Zoom call or face to face, and we'll just go through, and you'll have that question. But I've never been on a train. Then we explain. All right, let's go through the process. And if you don't feel at ease, then we move on to, all right, let's do car service. We explain how far away, where the taxi stand. It's very detailed, and we want to make sure every one of our clients, our customers, that they are just at ease at every step of the way. And we go, like I said, multiple times through the itinerary. working out the details that make you feel at ease, that you know when you hit the ground, you're going to be white glove service, understanding from our conversations how the flow of the trip is going to go. We have it down to, if you're staying at a hotel and you want to get something to eat, we put locations of restaurants right within minutes from you. So you don't have to be on your Google map walking 20 minutes to go somewhere. If you have to get a
Yep.
taxi, we tell you when to get a taxi. So there's a lot of that just conversation to put you at ease. And you're walking through the itinerary on your phone and you're saying, oh, geez, this is exactly as smooth as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
No,
answer
that's
your question,
exactly
you
right.
think? Yeah.
And I'm gonna spin the question around and tackle it from a different angle here.
Okay.
A lot of that dis-ease with coming over is the newness and kind of a fear factor, let's say, because there's the unknown, fear of the unknown. Well, what is it going to be like? How do I do that? I don't even know the language. There's so many unknown things that can be a source of anxiety for people. And so it sounds like what you're saying is having conversations with people who know, or I mean, just flat out doing the kind of research that you have to in order to know a place before you get there. But gee whiz, that's a lot of work. And, again, you've got the podcast, you've got a free consult with Italy with Bella anytime you want on the Italy with Bella website. You can go there and sign up today and mark your day and time that you'd like to have that consultation. But yeah, it's getting rid of that fear factor, exploring your options, deciding on a path. It doesn't mean that it's going to work out exactly like you planned, but you're going to have a great plan to follow. And if you go to Italy with Bella, you're going to have people on your team to help you navigate all along the way. So anything else to add to that, or other questions that you might have heard that I didn't see come in?
No, I mean, for that question, that's pretty much it. I think do we have one more question on your list?
There was something about food and wine. Do we want to jump into that?
That is a
Can you
long
talk
one.
about the pasta and Italy cuisine? Yes, we can, and we
And how
we
long?
would
How
love
much
to
time
do
do you
that.
have?
I don't know if everyone has an attention span. Uh,
We
that's
like
that's
pasta and we like
that
Italian
would be
cuisine, Brian.
that would be enough for how much we could talk about that. No, seriously though, on our podcast we talk a lot about the pasta and cuisine, because the question actually says pasta and Italian cuisine, and so let me just respond to the question itself. There is no Italian cuisine. I mean, unless you're at Olive Garden, there is no, one size fits all. And I'm going to throw another one under the bus. I don't live in the country. They can't come after me. But if you're at Buca di Beppo or, one of these chains, you're not eating Italian food. And, when you come over here, what you find is that you have regional cuisine. And then even like within a region in my town, we have our own staples that we go after. But in our major metropolitan city, we have a famous dish, pasta alla norma, with eggplant and ricotta cheese. And over on the other side of the island, they have their dish. And so even within a region, different towns are going to have their own staples, their own dishes that they're famous for. And you might not find those in other places. If you do, they might not be like you had it back where it's from. And so what we help you do is, as you're traveling in Italy, to know what's the top couple of dishes that I should really take a look at, and what's this region famous for. And if you're going after a 0 kilometer approach where you want to know what's locally sourced, local ingredients and traditional there, we're going to help you find those things that speak to that area that you're traveling in. That's the best way to experience food in Italy. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. And if I'm going to give it from an American perspective and understanding this, and it happened to us, right? And you've heard the story before. Think about it. Everyone's listening to this call. Would you go for seafood in Nebraska? Right? What is that region known for? It's probably known for meat, right? Or if you go to Idaho, you go for potatoes and some kind of potato dish, right? Potato dish. Same thing in New England, you go for chowder and lobster. And then, and of course, in the South, you go for barbecue. Every region and within
Nashville
every
hot
state.
chicken.
Exactly. And that's a perfect example of it, right? So when you do have conversations with us, we'll tell you, we'll put it in your trip. Hey, in Rome, here are the 4 pasta dishes you get, right? Here's the type of
The
pizza
4
you get.
pasta dishes you need to try. In other
Exactly.
words, don't try the lasagna, please, in Rome. Come on. Now, if you wanna try pizza because you need a pizza in Rome, we'll tell you what
Yes.
kind of pizza you need to get because it's Roman and
In
it's what
style,
they do
yes.
very well there.
Hmm.
And you're gonna wait for the traditional or what we think of as a normal pie down in Naples. It's things like this that you find sometimes through trial and error and sometimes through experience, sometimes through a lot of research and travel and all of that kind of thing. And that's what you need a coach to help you determine what's the best food where I'm at now.
That's
That's the
funny you say
important
that. Yeah,
question.
agree, agree. We had a family on the other night, and the lady's like, "Listen, I need to have a good meal at every restaurant." I'm like, "Oh, wow, I like this person," right? She's like, "I don't want to have a bad meal, and then I'm only there 10 days, and one of my
Yep.
meals was bad. Now I just wasted a
Right.
meal, right?"
I mean,
So we
imagine
make sure
imagine if only one meal was good out of
good.
10 days, because you fell
Exactly.
into tourist traps,
Hmm.
because you went to places that, were a little seedy or that looked good and appealing to the foreign eye, but they didn't know what to look for to determine, hey, wait, this is not what it's cracked up to be. You need to come over here where it's going to be traditional, local, good ingredients, and you're going to feel like you're at home when
Hmm.
you're in Italy with Bella. If I can
Yeah,
just slide that little slogan right
you
there.
are a
Doesn't that feel
slow.
nice? It's so comfy. I want
It
to
is
put my
comfy.
slippers on.
I have them on. No, I totally agree. I mean, and a lot of times what happens is you have these people that go on trips and they're bloggers. They read a blog, they read about some Australian person who traveled Italy and wrote their food blogs. Well, that's
Are you
good.
thinking about someone in particular? Can I
No,
pick your brain
no,
now?
no, no,
No,
no, no,
no.
no.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that. I'll say England instead of Australia. How's that? So,
Oops.
but no,
Strike that from the record.
yes. Go ahead, Bry. I'm sorry. You want to close it up?
No, no. I think that covers our bases. We've answered our questions. We've given you the heads up for what's coming up, and we're doing these Facebook Lives at the end of every month to kind of give you a recap of what's happened and a little bit of a hint of where we're going. So I think it bodes well for the future. Can't wait to see you guys over here in Italy in just a few weeks. So excited about that. And for everyone listening or watching, can't wait to see you over here. If you need help, go to ItalyWithBella.com. Happy to help you with that. Check out our Spotify podcast anytime, Bella Italy. You can find that on the website as well, ItalyWithBella.com. Anything else?
I'm good. Ciao. Arrivederci,
All
everyone.
right, guys.
Look forward to hearing from you
Ciao,
next month.
everybody.
Later.
All right. See you next time.